Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is KRX, and I'm hoping to give some commentary and thoughts from my experience with the newly released early access indie game Flotsam. I'd like to stress that this is an analysis and review based on the current early access build of Flotsam as it releases on Thursday, September 26, 2019. Of course, everything is subject to change, and the game is likely to be expanded. Also, I'm going to be going to try desperately not to add in content suggestions or ideas, as that would probably be better suited in a separate video. This is an overview of the current state of the game and whether that adds up to a worthwhile purchase. So what is Flotsam? Well, from the Steam page, Flotsam is a floating garbage town survival game. Scavenge garbage to grow your city. I will attempt to break down the structure of the game in more detail later in the review. For now, it would be hard to talk about Flotsam without mentioning it's a charming aesthetic. This is what stands out with this game. It really draws us in and piques our interest. The art style reminds me of my time at Porsche crossed with the cell shading of Borderlands. I personally think they nailed it. The animations are cute, whether the buildings bobbing up and down with the flow of the ocean, or the workers known as drifters in this game, smacking on things at the workstations or strutting on the platforms hauling goods. It creates a light-hearted vibe. The UI design is clean and user-friendly. The art pieces within the UI and tooltips are detailed and whimsical. I really like the art in the research section. Everything is easy to understand and find within the menus. This is partly supported by the fact that the game is rather simple in its mechanics, so the UI has been developed to complement the calm tone of this game. The overall colorful and cartoony style of this game gives a unique vibe. It helps it stand out from other survival games, which I think is great. Not all survival games need to have you swimming in grime. Although more importantly than its fantastic visuals, how is the gameplay of Flotsam structured? Flotsam is marketed to be like a base-building survival game. However, it's poised itself to explore a multitude of interesting mechanics and systems inspired by Frostpunk, FTL, and the Settlers. I would break Flotsam into three core mechanical pillars: base building, environment exploration, and map navigation. The base building and management is kind of the obvious aspect of Flotsam. You collect resources, manage your drifters or your workers in order to build a floating base. Specific goals of the base is to produce food and fresh water, which allows your drifters to survive. The worker management in this game is a similar but simplified version of RimWorld or Oxygen Not Included, where you can assign priorities to each drifter while not controlling them directly. Part of the simplification comes from less diversity in resources and tasks, therefore overall an easier time and resource management system. Another part of the simplification comes from just the overall forgiving nature of the game that doesn't require you to apply as much optimization or micromanagement over your workers as other survival games. Despite running low on food and water temporarily, once or twice, I never noticed the death of drifters or a setback in the colony. Once the base hits a threshold of output potential, the survival aspects of the game fade away. It wasn't particularly difficult to get what seemed like unlimited food and water. The building selection is very small as well. Storage, shelter, material processing, water processing, food processing, and boats make up the categories of buildings that you add to your base, with only a couple buildings existing in each of the different categories. Some buildings are available to unlock via researching. This is the full research screen, and we can see it's kind of light on stuff. However, it is likely to be expanded massively in the future. Another pillar of this game is exploring the surrounding environment. First thing I do in a map tile is zoom around and assess the area for resources such as floating plastic, wood, fish, and unique landmarks. Nearby floating debris can be collected by drifters swimming out and collecting pieces individually. Once scavenger boats have been built, you can send workers farther distances to collect resources faster and haul more resources back with each trip. Fishing boats allow you to gather fish from the available schools. All the resources in the immediate ocean space are finite. Unique landmarks, while not very unique, need to be scavenged by workers using the scavenger boats. These areas give you access to additional, more limited resources such as seaweed, metal scrap, canned food, oil, or fresh water. Some extra special things that you can find are additional workers and, most importantly, research points. The final pillar of this game, in my opinion, is one of the most pleasant surprises: the navigation and the mobility of your base. As the resources dry up in your current ocean space, you can make the decision to advance your base further into the ocean map. This is presented almost like an FTL star map, with different paths and destinations as you wiggle to the end, making decisions about where to go next based on the potential of finding water, oil, new drifters, a number of other interesting things. I love the idea of having to plan a path through a giant ocean map, making tough choices about which direction to head, what resources to forego. You never know what you might discover in an ocean tile. The problem is this pillar of the game is by far the least developed, and there's currently no randomization or shuffling of the map. Most disappointing, however, is how easy it is to reach the end, which does nothing other than teleport you back to the beginning of the exact same ocean map you've just navigated through. There's a huge wealth of ideas that could be applied to this. I only hope the developers are looking at games like FTL to inspire them to make this aspect of the game more adventurous. Overall, these pillars of the game are awesome and could be expanded to make a unique experience. However, they are all very bare bones at the moment. Plus, the lack of difficulty in the game is preventing you from feeling any sort of emotion, intensity, or investment in what you're doing. The more hazardous the world is, the more nail-biting your choices become. That directly translates into giving the players a sense of adventure and satisfaction, which is completely absent in this game. Guys, a quick note here. You may have noticed some choppy recording at various points of this footage. I tried to dance around it as much as possible while recording. However, this game runs terribly. The developers are aware of and admitted that the game is not optimized. Regardless, this kind of stuff kind of concerns me, because why are games being released if there's such, massive known issues? The current state of the game doesn't justify an unoptimized mess. A lot of companies, I think, struggle to make their games run smoothly. However, the simplicity and narrow focus of this game should have allowed them to make a better initial experience, I think. Alrighty, we've talked about Flotsam, what it is, how it looks, the gameplay structure, and the technical performance. I simply hope that this allows you to make your own decision about the game Flotsam, which is coming out today, September 26, 2019. However, do I recommend Flotsam? Is it worth the $25? In my personal opinion, no, it's not worth that at this time. In order to highlight this game for our community on Twitch and YouTube, I've played Flotsam for over 20 hours. I've replayed and rebeaten Flotsam 3 times. That's exploring the entire world, unlocking all the technologies, building a completed base 3 times. The entire gameplay loop available in early access release version of the game is about 4 to 5 hours to do everything. On top of that, there's no replayability because there is no randomized elements in the game. The world map is not shuffled, randomized, or procedural. The individual areas to explore are not randomized. There are plans to add randomization replayability eventually. It just does not exist right now. Also, there is no way for us to know when that will happen or how that will even be implemented, and how that could affect sort of like the core flow of the game or the enjoyment of the game. $25 is kind of a steep price for what you're getting here at this stage. I'd like to see more content replayability added to the game so that it might better match the chosen price of the game. This is actually really, really tough for me because I genuinely enjoyed all my time playing this game. The only reason why I wanted to make this review is because I like what exists in this game, and my mind is racing with the ideas of what it could be. You've heard this all before. This game has potential, right? This should echo as words of warning, though, for any early access game. I'm worried that this game releasing this bare bones is going to negatively affect its ability to reach its targeted scope and goals. Again, this is only representative of the early access release build. I think it's 0.1.4 as of September 26, 2019. I plan to cover this game's major content updates with commentary and gameplay to follow the story of Flotsam as it evolves. I hope the passionate development team can follow through on making it a rich, complete experience. Stay tuned for more Flotsam content. I like this game. I want it to be good. Let me know what you guys think about the game, guys. Let me know what you guys think about the review or anything else. I read all the comments. Thank you all for watching. This has been Carex, and I will see you guys in the next one.